Okay, I want to see if I can make the following changes. Remove the entity menu, which is this thing here when you click on an object. It's a little bit weird because um, sometimes it can overlap with this thing and it's kind of in the way. So I think a better way would just be to put a delete menu here or a colorization. So and it just sets the current state. So it's almost like choosing which tool is you want to highlight. So maybe we could have a tools menu. Tools. Yeah, maybe when you toggle edit, tools shows up here. Or maybe it expands underneath this. Or maybe it's brush, delete, primitives. I'm not sure. It's almost like the edit deserves its own place. Okay, let's hmm, let's remove this entity menu, and that happens, I think, in collaboration editor. So here we are. There's a selected mesh, an entity plane controller container, and an entity plane, and an entity advanced texture. We don't need any of that. We don't have to mess with a utility layer. What is the pointer observer? I don't think we need this anymore either. So we can delete that. So we're saying if you toggle on, and if you toggle off, disable entity menu, which I don't think we need this, and I don't think we need this. Enable the entity menu. I don't think we need to do any of this. So on, okay, utility layer, okay, we don't need to look at the utility layer at all. And this is to look at pointer events, which I think maybe we can keep this. So we're selecting only, okay, we're directly selecting when they're editable. I think I like to keep this. So if you pick on something, you save that, And then in the off position, we want to remove that. So let's bring back this pointer observation. So public pointer observation is a Babylon observable of type, what is this? Pointer info. What now? Let's see, on, assign this, add, Babylon observer. Let's see, entity plane, set menu position, we don't need this. Don't need any of this. Here we'll just do select mesh. And the only issue is this thing, which what's going on here? Pointer observable, Babylon observable of Babylon pointer info. Oh, observer versus observable. Observer. There we go. Okay, so you save it, and then in off, you'll do some cleanup, which is this pointer observable. Oh, okay, well, you need to remove it. This scene on pointer observable, remove this pointer observable if it exists. You do that, and then I don't think we actually need to do that. It's always going to be set to something. So that should clean that up, right? So now if we enter here, go to edit, and no more highlight menu. So we've done our job as far as that goes. Now we want to be able to create the primitive where we click. Right now we're creating it at the origin, which is here. But what if we're not facing the origin? We'd like to create it where my pointer is, I suppose. And we can make a very small one. But in order to do that, I think we need to be able to add scaling to the primitive. Well, first let's see if we can just add it at this point. So what information do we have? When we click this, what do we get? Well, it's a button, and we do get to call a callback. Let's look at primitives. Primitives. So now we're just doing this callback, and we're not really passing any information to it. But the A gets a callback, and we're not able to pass pointer information to it. So let's look at how A is made. A is saying a callback is necessary and could pass information. Okay, on pointer up observable. That we call the props callback, and maybe we can also see what's in here. So this gets vector with info and events or state. So we don't get three-dimensional info, do we? Vector 2 with info. Let's see what's here. We get event data and event state, and then we call this thing. So we call it that, but let's just console log it out too. Console log. What is event? Event data. And what is event state? So this will get called when a link is called. Okay, so we get this XY on this business, event state, target, current target. What is target? Menu button. Alright, let's rule out the first one. Current event data. There's nothing here. There's the X and Y coordinates of this thing. And there's a whole bunch of data in here. There's current target, clip children, fixed ratio, however it is. But there's no position of this thing. Bunch of observables on enter, wheel. I wonder if it's still registered as a kind of... Let's go into primitives though. Primitives. And on this callback, no. Can't get the information that I want, which is the location of the texture. We'll have to get that from outside. When you click, and you want to combine this. It's like you want to combine this callback with the last piece of information that you had. So what if in signal hub I did have a pointer pick, and I guess let's say it's any first of all, and then in scene manager after the scene is created, actually let's go to the this thing. I want it to be an observable, so signal hub, not here, but maybe in their observables. Last pointer pick new behavior subject of anything, and right now it's just null. Last pointer pick behavior subject of anything. So what that'll allow us to do is hold the previous value. So scene manager will want to set the scene pointer on pointer down, on pointer up. It gives you an I pointer and a pick event. So say it's event and pick info and what else? The type. And you'll just pass these along. So signal hub dot observable dot last pointer pick, and send all of this data through. So you get the event, the pick, info, and the type. And so now whoever's listening to this can do something with that. So let's go into primitive. And so when this thing is initialized in the primitive, we'll add a kind of subscription. So let sub equal, it's a public sub is an subscription. So this subscription, this sub equals signal hub observables last pointer pick subscribe, and we've got data, and we'll just console log the data. So I just want to see if we can see it. So here I'm clicking around, I don't get it. Still don't get it, but if I go to primitives, Now I'm getting this, this, this. I'm getting the, actually I'm not getting it. Event data and event state. I wanted this. Hold on. I want this to say data, and where are we saying event state? Okay, this is inside the A. Move that, that's not useful to us. So I'm wondering if we can get so clicking on that, but now clicking anywhere. Oh, but it's suppressed here. It's not considered a pick. So it's not considered a pick. You probably need to use a lower level event. So I'm going to scene manager. This probably needs to be a pointer down on pointer down. So clicking on primitives counts. Got nothing. And click on this. Nothing. Click out here. Got something. But click on this still doesn't register a click. It's like it intercepts it. That's interesting. So GUI prevents those data from coming out. Which I guess it's fine. We don't really need to know where I'm clicking. Just put it in front of your face. So let's do that. Okay, so let's chill on this on pointer down thing. So we're not providing it any data in Signal Hub. Let's just use that for a bit. Where are we in the usage of it? It was in primitives? Yes. Okay, so when you click this, we simply emit this event, and that actually goes across the wire to create the thing. But we want to intercept this. So we want to create it on our side before it goes across the wire, because we can create a lot faster, right? So if we can create a lot faster, we're going to need the UUID. If we create it a lot faster, let's look at add entity with broadcast. So here is the backend function for this. It takes a space and an entity kind, and then it just creates this at the origin. Now we could stuff a UUID in here and scale and position and rotation. That would mean, let's see, we send it to outgoing, so we go to signal hub. So we go to, who's listening? Signal hub. No, space broker. Is listening to outgoing spaces API. This is what we broadcast to everyone else. And on the way back, we create it ourselves. But if we want to create it ourselves first, when we receive the message first, we could, no, we don't have the scene, right? So if we go back to primitives, we could say emit something local first. We could say signal hub local create primitive, and then the type is the prim. So we'll go to signal hub local create primitive, and okay, let's need a couple things. Let's say that the type is string. Let's say pause rot is types pause rot and scale. And we need a UUID. So now when we click this, we don't know this thing. So create primitive means please build it. So it's like we're requesting a primitive, and all we have is this. just this. So we go request primitive, and we can listen to it in scene manager or something that has the scene. Does primitive have the scene? Primitive has nothing passed to it here. I mean, you could give it the orchestrator. You could do it all here. I suppose you could do it all here. Just hand me the orchestrator. We don't have to pass messages every place. So how does that go? We pass it in from menu manager. Menu manager, which has the orchestrator. Pass it down to when you're creating the primitive. Pass me this orchestrator. Primitives takes orchestrate public. Orchestrator, which is an orchestrator. So then we don't need to emit this. And signal hub doesn't need it. Signal hub doesn't need request primitive. Too many little messages. Alright. So what happens in primitive? We say you clicked on something and I need to know where you're facing. So at this point we can say this scene, this orchestrator, scene manager, scene. Okay, let's let this be the scene. In fact, we could have this be public. It's not going to change. So once you're here, super, and public scene is a Babylon scene. So this scene is that. Now we can use scene. This scene active camera dot forward, get forward ray. Gets a ray in the forward direction from the camera. Defines the length of the ray to create. Transform to define the transfer, but by default the world matrix is used, and origin defines start, which defaults to the camera position. So let's say that the length is 1 meter, and let this be ray, and console log ray. Okay, so now when we click around, it's not going to create anything, it's just going to spit out where it could be. So a box could be here, which is 001. That's a local direction. And my origin is here. Okay, what happens if I go like over to here and I click on cone? Okay, this is obviously my origin, and this is my direction. Like, are these two subsequent hits different? No, they're exactly the same. It's all in the positive direction. What if I face this way and cone? So now I'm getting negative. So I think if we take this, add this, and draw a sphere, that's where the primitive should be. So we take the ray, which actually contains a bit of things, is let's say that the destination is equal to, so you want to take origin plus the ray dot origin add and ray dot direction, which will give us a destination. And then let's use Babylon dot mesh builder. Let's create a box, temp, I guess, and let's make it small. So the size is 0.2, and this scene, and then let's say that the temp position copy from destination position or destination, which this destination is a vector 3, copy from a vector 3. Okay. So if I'm just going to here primitives and I go box, if I go like this and I go box, 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 facing down, box, facing up, box. So wherever I'm facing, I get a box about 1 meter ahead of me, which I think is pretty cool. Right, so that's not too bad. Then now that I have that, I need a new backend mechanism to say I want it that maybe added entity. Added entity and broadcast from. And now you will pass everything. So first of all, can we create UUID in JavaScript? Function B A, return A. What does this do? Let's see. Browser UUID. UUID browser. For version 4 UUIDs. How big is this? Let's just use this. Can you install just the one you want, V4? We have to sign in for GitHub. Okay, I installed the npm package. Now I guess I can import. How do I use this? UUID/v4. Import everything as UUID v4 from UUID v4. Cannot define. This types. UUID. Require call may be converted to an import. Const. How do you convert? Require call to import. Now, how do you do this? So we have this is import foo from blah. Okay, import from it says it's declared cannot find a module or corresponding type declarations. Okay. Oh, okay. Let's just say print me out a UUID. So let UUID equals UUID version 4 and print it out. Okay, v4 is not exported by package. Could not resolve this. v4 is not exported by package UUID. Using UUID in TypeScript. Try that. Okay, got the nice UUIDs coming out. And so I want to send first, let's make the backend function. So I think we have spaces, add entity with broadcast, and let's say define added entity with broadcast from, and I want the UUID, the type, the position, rotation, the scale. So I think we'll create an entity like this. So what does create entity do? Create entity does build default components with attributes. So entity enters some change set. Entity change set. So it allows you to cast this. So type is required, and these are optional. So entity build default components fills out set components in attributes. We'll go through the given components, and what's given components is default components, and default components is this kind of stuff. Position, rotation, scale, color. Actually, you could just pass this in, and yeah. So we need a different kind of change set. So this is change set when you have no adders. Whew. Let's pick this up later. Getting tired.